Okay. I move to open the Marshfield Conservation Commission meeting for Wednesday, August 21st, 2024. May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. First up is business item 1, 38 Foster Avenue, pervious driveway discussion. Is there anyone here to talk about this?
Okay. I'm not sure Mr. Schmidt is on tonight, but I talked with him about this project extensively. The permit was an RDA for a pervious walkway, gravel driveway, and then pervious apron leading onto Foster Ave. After starting construction, he realized that the 8-foot driveway width would be a little bit too narrow and wants to increase it to 9 feet. That's essentially just the scope of the change there.
I have absolutely no problem with that. Does anyone else have any comment, or do we want to do that as a de minimis? Or?
Yeah, de minimis activity under the RDA.
So I move that the width of the driveway changes from 8 feet to 9 feet, and that will be a de minimis activity. Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, item number 2 is 485 Pleasant Street, retaining wall and fencing.
Hi, I'm Billy Last. This is Adam. He owns the property. I was kind of helping him with some of the permitting stuff.
Okay.
So I'm sure you guys might remember this project. At the last hearing, you were very clear that if there were any changes to landscaping, that you wanted us to come back in, because I know you spent some extensive time going through on the original approval.
Right.
So there's just a couple kind of more aesthetic stuff that he decided to do as he was moving forward with it. Primarily, in the front of the house, there is a little bit of a slope that comes from the front steps heading down toward the wetland area. And when we're looking to do the grading for the walkway, we're just looking to do like a 1 foot high kind of retaining area just to help with that slope. And also a fencing on the side. This is all an area that was previously approved as like a hard landscape that would be mowed, so we're not encroaching anywhere closer to what was already okayed by the board, but it's more, like I said, for aesthetics, but we just wanted to come in and touch base before we went forward with the fencing, because it was not on the original plan.
Right.
And,
So the fencing is along Pleasant Street
correct.
Yes.
from, yeah. That, I have no issue with that at all. I'm a little confused looking at the plan as to exactly where the retaining wall is going to go. I was out there and, I see there's a slight slope, but can you, like how far out from the porch?
Off the front porch, there's 3 steps. And then it drops down about a foot to where the current grade is. So at the bottom of that step, I want to come out 3 feet, 4 feet, and then go towards the driveway, and the wall is going to follow that walkway towards the driveway. So right about where that cursor is. And then down, it will join the mudroom walkway and then go over to the driveway.
So it'll go all the way from
The center of the farmer's porch, over,
out to the street?
out to where that van is. The garage is over on the left-hand side.
Okay.
So probably 6 or 7 feet, you'd probably say, from the farmer's porch.
Give or take, about a foot high.
A foot high. Well, is it going to run the whole length of the porch? I'm just trying to visualize.
From the center out towards the driveway.
Just from the center?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I think it starts at, what is the grade? It's about a 4-foot drop, I believe, from the corner of the porch to the 25.
Okay.
And to grade it and have a level walkway going out to the driveway. That's what we were thinking.
Okay. Do you have any comments, Mike?
Yes, I highlighted the area of the erosion control boundary, which is roughly on the 25-foot setback here. So it seems like the proposed retaining wall would be roughly 10 feet further away from the wetlands, so around 35 feet from the wetlands there. Just looking at the site, one thing that raises a question is access of animals to this pond. Before there's no retaining wall or any gradient change, really, like a steep gradient change. I did notice before construction, there were a plethora of turtles using the pond, et cetera. Might be hard for some wildlife to kind of navigate a retaining wall encircling the pond. I wasn't sure if this side here would have a proposed retaining wall, or if there are any obstacles in the brush for animals to access that pond.
Yeah, and I think we were clear that we had, and if you remember, there was another order of conditions that dealt with the pond, which I think had
Yes.
been kind of closed out. So the only recommendation that you made clear at the last meeting was to make sure that, like, we weren't mowing anything over there or any disturbance.
Right, no, you have respected the
Yep, and
25-foot.
there's a no touch for us. We wouldn't be doing any work except for that area. And I think that as far as the entire encumbrance, this is probably just gonna run from the center of that porch, kind of heading toward the driveway. So it's not as if we're planning on encumbrances that whole
Okay.
red line by
Right.
any means. This is really just to help flatten it out a little bit. And I think, to be honest with you, I think it might just help even with our slope a little bit, so there's less runoff kind of heading toward the pond area.
So, excuse me.
No, go ahead.
Is it gonna go beyond the garage?
No, I think it's kind of stopping right.
Yeah, the corner where that van is with all the ladders on it,
Yeah.
right about there.
The grade kind of matches back up to the driveway at that point, in that area, in that front area, it's
Okay,
kind of
so,
jumping
so
off.
Mike, put the cursor at the end of the garage there. So it's gonna run from there and now run towards the house, Mike, towards the middle of the house?
Right to the center of that porch.
Yeah.
Yep, from there, right about there.
So any migration of animals, they'd hit the house anyway.
Yeah,
But,
yeah, no, the pond and the 25-foot, and there's still gonna be another 10 feet
Yeah.
there, and yeah, I don't think wildlife, I don't think that's gonna have much of an impact on wildlife.
Right. Initially, I was concerned that it was going to encompass encircle the pond, but now you've made it
Yeah,
clear.
we're gonna, pretty simple, just that
Just want it
walkway.
right along
just
there.
for when you're walking into the house area.
and again, the fence is gonna stop about where the red line is?
Right about there, yes.
Okay,
And go all the way to basically to the corner of the lot line.
so
because
again, it's not,
that's-
it's,
Kind of like halfway between that red line and the front of that truck, somewhere in that area is where the fence will go.
Right.
Running away from the wetland area.
Right,
That's kind of the main yard, and if a buyer comes in with kids and that sort of thing. I kinda
Sure.
wanna, you know, walk.
what kind of a fence is it gonna be? I'm just
A
curious.
6-foot white vinyl, you know, kind of like nickel gap kind of look.
Yep. Should that have I mean, it's not really jurisdictional, should that have a gap under it?
It could have a gap under it, however, it's not necessarily around, if it was encircling the pond or had some frontage around the pond, I would suggest the gap. Where it's on the shoulder of the street, I don't believe one is necessarily necessary, but
Yeah.
it could be beneficial to have wildlife passage under that fence.
Anybody else have a comment?
What kind of erosion control measures would you take?
Well, I think currently, right now, where we were in compliance for erosion control to be able to fully landscape that yard with loom and everything else. So what's in place right now, I think is, in my opinion, has been sufficient for the entire construction. So as far as that wall going in, it would be no more disturbance than what would have been to just raking out the regular yard. So we're not really disturbing anything new. So I think the erosion controls that are in place currently that were approved by you folks before are still in place. We've left those there because we're not done with our order of conditions yet. So everything would be staying until the project's complete. But as far as protection to the wetland resource, there's really nothing more we could do than what you had already asked us to do.
There's silt sock
Yes.
Kind of running
That
right
whole
by where
red
that
line
red line
is all
Yes.
siltsock, and it's in good shape and it's functioning.
And I'm a couple of weeks away from loam and seed,
Okay.
because nobody wants to grow lawn in July or August.
No.
Doesn't really work out that well.
Wait till September,
Yeah.
October. Okay, I don't have any issues with this, the fence, or the wall. Bert, are you,
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay.
Okay, so we want to do this as do we want to amend the orders to capture the retaining wall, or?
They
What is
could be
the best
amended.
way?
It could also be captured under an as-built site plan, depending on the commission's opinions there.
I
But
do know that as-built will be done, that was in part of the original approval,
Right.
was to make sure that we were doing as-built, especially for the back wall as well, so we already are anticipating doing an as-built.
I'm satisfied if it gets captured on the as-built.
Perfect.
Just so we're on the same page, what kind of gap are we talking about below the fence?
6-inch gap?
When we have a situation where we are concerned about wildlife passage, in some cases, we can require it like a 6-inch gap.
Okay.
But I'm not sure it matters, given that you're right on the road there, and,
If I could, I would possibly be able to say not to have that, just in the event that that's kind of an area where I think someone, if they were gonna have a dog or something.
yeah,
that
well,
might be
that's,
an area
that's
that we would
always,
probably
yeah,
fence
if you're
in,
gonna have a
so.
pet, that could maybe, yeah. I'm
Yeah, I don't.
I'm not
need it in
gonna-
this case.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not gonna
Great.
hold you to that, so, we're not gonna hold you to that. So, yeah, okay, if you capture all of this on the as-built, we'll be fine.
Great,
Okay, thank you.
thank you folks very much.
Sure, thank you. And by the way, the plantings around that pond, I have been involved with this from the very beginning, and they have turned out beautifully.
Yes.
I couldn't believe how well-grown everything was. I hadn't looked at it closely in a couple of years.
Really nice. I never saw it before, so I've only seen.
Right, you don't
it,
know.
so
Well,
it's-
you can
it's
look at
great.
it there. There wasn't much going on.
Great. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Sure, thank you. Okay, and lastly, we have Old Beach Road, 30 Old Beach Road, a generator. Hi.
So, you know, I've spoken with Mike and with Andrew, and they suggested that I come to this group. The generator was on the original floodplain permit, and Mike and Andrew have provided me with the drawings for the generator stand platform, and the plan is to build it to that standard with diamond piers. So that's essentially the discussion, I think. I don't know if you want to add anything, Mike?
Yeah, if I may, just the property is in a potential barrier beach coastal dune environment, as well as land subject to coast storm flowage. Thusly, it's good to have a commission review on any structures going into that type of environment. The proposed generator stand is on the approved generator stand that was designed in collaboration with the Building Department and Conservation Commission. It's on diamond pier footings and would be directly adjacent to the approved shed on the property.
My only question is, it would seem to me that the generator is gonna be on the side of the shed where if you are gonna have floodwaters, they're gonna be coming from the seaward side.
It'd be on the west, the generator stand would be on the west side of the shed. The water is to the right side of this drawing or the east.
Okay,
Yes.
okay, I was looking at it
That's okay.
incorrectly.
No worries, no worries.
Yep. Yeah, anyone?
No, just subject to building codes.
Yep. And you have the generator stand that is used, and, yep. I would say, once again, this can be captured on the as-built
Perfect.
when you are finished.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
Okay, that concludes the business. There are going to be two continuations tonight. If anyone is here or listening in for 12 Careswell Street, that's not going to be heard tonight. Our first hearing is 0 Main Street. This is a continued hearing. And is there anyone here?
Yes, this is Greg Morse.
We hear you loud and
Loud and
clear.
clear.
I guess so. Great.
Okay, the hearing officer is Vice Chair O'Donnell.
Yeah, so this was continued last time because we were waiting for some advice from town council. Basically, because of the 21-day rule, we're required to approve this. And I think we were leaning towards approving what's proposed here, the crossings for the machinery, for the test pits. I believe we felt that was satisfactory. It's more of a question of the final wetland delineation, and that's subject to future discussion. But as far as what we have here, have commissioners got any comments on it? Mike, in addition to the conditions that are on the plan, have you got any other special conditions on that?
Yes. The standard general conditions would apply prior to construction, condition 5 and 2, to have a pre-construction meeting and generally stake out the area of work during construction. Ensure best management practices are in place after construction. To file the certificate of compliance within 30 days of the completion of work. And that would be it.
Okay, I'm sorry, Greg, I got a little ahead of myself, but since you weren't here at the last hearing, I wanted to bring you up to speed. Have you got any further comments?
No, nothing further to add. I did watch the video of the last meeting, and it sounds like we're moving in a good direction, so I'll give it back to you, Bart. Thank you.
Okay. In that case, I'd like to open it up to anybody from the public. Have any comments on this? So just to explain on this one, and Craig, please chime in if I'm incorrect, but because of the sequence on when this was submitted and when the next hearing was, we weren't able to hear this within 21 days. So basically, the state regulations override local bylaws, and this proposal for this testing is within the state guidelines. And basically, I believe we feel it's okay for us too. It's more of a question of the future wetland delineation.
Correct, yeah, we are held to the SORAD line approved by DEP. We missed both the 21-day filing deadline here and the 10-day deadline to appeal the SORAD. So we are, we have to approve this. We still have questions, the commission still has questions about this property, but for the purposes of this wetland crossing for the test pits, we are fine.
Okay, and once again, anybody from the public have any questions? I see none. In that case, I'd like to make a motion to close the hearing and issue special conditions. Do I get a second?
Second.
Second is Craig. All in favor?
Aye.
It's unanimous. Thank you, Greg.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Good
you.
evening.
Okay. 278 Foster Ave, raise and rebuild. This is a new hearing. I will read the legal ad. In compliance with the regulations of Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Wetlands Protection Act, and Code of the Town of Marshfield, Chapter 294, Wetlands Protection, a public hearing will be held by the Marshfield Conservation Commission on Wednesday, August 21st, 2024, to consider the notice of intent filed for 278 Foster Avenue, and the hearing officer is Commissioner Miles.
Okay. So this is a raise rebuild in land subject to coastal storm flowage, barrier beach coastal dune, buffer zone to coastal beach, flood zone A03, I believe, and VE 19. And are you the homeowner?
My name is Richard Burchell. I'm the builder. I represent Jennifer Hamel, the homeowner.
Okay. Do you want to explain?
Oh, sure. So basically, Jennifer purchased the house, her initial intention was to renovate the house, but due to the rules and regulations with FEMA, half the value of the house, she couldn't do the proper renovation. So unfortunately, fortunately for her, she's able to take the house down, rebuild it. The foundation will be wood pile because it's a high velocity zone, typical that you see along the coast. And that's really it, it's nothing, we're not recreating the wheel on this one.
Okay. Mike, did you have any?
Yes, just for the record, all administrative requirements have been met. Additionally, the applicant wishes to demolish the existing home on a concrete foundation and construct a new home on an open pile foundation. Interestingly, the plans indicated that there would be a 72 square foot increase in impervious area. I talked to the engineer and the contractor. The surfacing under the home would be pervious. The impervious calculation originally accounted for the square footage of the roof, thus the increase in impervious area. But the area underneath the home is actually pervious to allow for water to run through the subsurface.
Okay. And did you have any plans for skirting or walls or?
So
enclosure?
typically, we'll do, a lattice, but it would be probably vertical, like 1x5 PVC. And, in most of the homes we do, we leave 6 inches so the water can come and go underneath. And it not necessarily the whole house will be, because this house, the lowest horizontal beam will be at 8 feet, so they're hoping to put some cars under the house, in a pinch.
Okay. Any other commissioners have any questions?
I think I have one. Did you have one, Bert?
I don't.
Cutting you off. There's currently a wooden platform attached to the seawall.
Right now, there's a platform leaning against the seawall,
Okay.
yes.
And you don't plan to replace that?
No,
or-
so that was just done because, there was no place for her to do much with the
Okay.
front yard. The wall is probably 6 feet high, so when she's comes down the steps, she's staring at the wall. So a temporary platform was made beside the existings that is like,
Okay.
So anyway, it's leaning against it. There's no lead slugs tying it into the wall.
Because I think you need 3 feet
Yes.
between the seawall and any structure.
Yes. Ultimately, the house will be staring down at the wall.
Right, it'll be
So
raised up,
that
so it
be an
won't
issue,
be,
yeah.
okay. Thank you.
Yep.
That's all I had.
Any other comments from the public? None? Any special conditions, Mike?
Yes, I would suggest the following special conditions. General conditions 1 through 18 are, prior to construction, condition 5 and 2, ensure that we have a pre-construction meeting and stake out limits of work, before said meeting. During construction, condition 11. After construction, condition 1 to, file for a certificate of compliance within 30 days of completion of work, to provide an elevation certificate, and to ensure that erosion controls are in place during the duration of the project.
Fair enough.
All right.
Very good.
Move that we go ahead and close the hearing, subject to those conditions. And can I have a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you. very
Thank
much.
you.
Have a good remainder of the summer.
Thank you. It's gonna be nice. Okay, next up, we have 11 McCarthy Road. I am the hearing officer. I will read the legal ad. In compliance with the regulations of Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Wetlands Protection Act, and Code of the Town of Marshfield, Chapter 294, Wetlands Protection, a public hearing will be held by the Marshfield Conservation Commission on Wednesday, August 21st, 2024, to consider the notice of intent filed for 11 McCarthy Road. Are all administrative requirements met?
Yes, all administrative requirements.
Okay. Go ahead.
I am David Penny. I represent Rocky Meadow Enterprises and Webby Engineering. Joe couldn't make it tonight. We just came to see if there's anything anybody didn't like, or if you'd like to change anything, or
Well,
any
would you
questions.
just give us a quick synopsis of,
Well, what we're gonna do is remove the existing garage. It's pretty much falling down. I don't know if you've been able to see it.
yeah, I saw it.
And behind it, there's a ton of rubbish. We get rid of all of that, there's concrete, slab and foundation, or whatever is there that's man-made, not natural. Take out the driveway that runs to the garage, remove all of that. And from the hard surface back to the wetlands will be all grass. And it shows a proposed 10-by-10 shed. The deck is in tough shape, that's gonna have to be replaced. And the only thing we're doing is taking a piece of the driveway that's there, we're taking the driveway out, but putting in it'd be the block, cement block, or whatever it is for, they're about 2-inch patio pavers.
Okay,
What kind, exactly color, I don't know yet.
okay. So whatever slab is under the garage is gonna be removed?
Yes,
Okay. And the deck is a 1-for-1? I mean, you're...
right, we're just replacing what's there.
Yep, okay. And putting the shed in. Are the patio pavers pervious?
We can go that way, I mean, that depends on, it's her taste, you know.
We recommend that
Yeah.
when putting paving down and when you're near a resource area, if you use the pervious pavers.
Okay,
We also ask that if you're using pervious pavers, you provide us with a cross-section of the
okay,
pavers.
not a problem.
Okay. And do we want some, well, Mike, do you have comments?
Yes. I was out on site and I was looking at the site plan thereafter. It appears that some of the fencing proposed is actually on the adjacent parcel here. I'm not sure if that fencing is proposed to be replaced in the same area
It's
or
gonna-
moving.
It's gonna be moved out, but what we'd like to do is start at maybe the corner of the house, and come out a couple of feet off the property line and run it down for the dogs. That'll just be giving them a little more room in the backyard. But we're not gonna run it from on the entire length of the property line, because it encroaches too much on his driveway. If he's gonna plow it, he's got no place to put it. So what's there now is gonna stay, except from the corner of the house back. And it'll be a chain link fence, it won't be a hard fence.
And is this going to be on the driveway side of the house?
On the other side, the opposite.
The other side?
That neighbor's house is so close, it's only 8 feet to his driveway. And if we ran it from the front of the house, it just encroaches, it doesn't give any place to even, to do anything, you can't plow it or anything else. So we figured if we went from the back of the house, even if we come out on a 45-degree angle and came down, it gives more room for the animals.
Okay. Where did you think the fence is on another property?
It's 10 feet 6 inches in from the property
Oh,
line.
okay.
On the north side.
Okay.
As you can see where my cursor is.
Yep,
This appears to be the section of fencing, and then the thick bold lines appear to be the parcel boundaries.
that's flow chart,
And that's also in the wetlands, so if we can get that
Yeah,
Yeah,
moved out of there.
it does cross into the wetlands too, so the fence would have to be pulled back.
And that wouldn't be a problem to bring it back in even 10 feet. I don't see a problem with it.
Yeah, he's talking, yeah.
No, right here.
Oh, yeah, yeah, that's fine.
I mean, you can't use it now.
right,
Right.
okay. So, and conservation markers, Mike, along the back?
Conservation markers
Yeah.
would be beneficial. They could be placed along the extent of the silt fence, the silt fencing here, or they could be placed essentially anywhere where the former garage was.
Right, so if we move the actual fence in, we'll say 10 feet, I don't know, we'll have to figure out where it'll fit, and then put the conservation markers right in front of the fence?
Mm-hmm.
That'd be satisfactory?
Yeah.
That work?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That way, they'll protect the conservation markers too from someone knocking them over.
Yeah, right, they'll be,
Right.
yeah.
I've seen people ride lawnmowers. Oh, the thing was in the way. Well, that's their.
Oh, we've seen it all, trust me. Okay, so we are gonna need an updated plan
Okay,
with the fence
where we think the fence is gonna be,
where it will
Okay.
be,
not a problem.
a cross-section of pervious pavers,
Okay,
and note where, what do you think, 3 conservation markers?
Yeah, 3 conservation markers.
so I can even
One-
call you and you can come out and say, okay, right here, 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 it'd be fine if you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that would be acceptable as well.
Okay,
But as far as what's in the back there, it's all rubbish.
okay.
It's been getting
Yeah.
dumped there for, I don't know, 40 years.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So we're gonna clean all of that out. It'll all just be grass from the pavers back.
are there any, is there any drainage plan?
There may be
or
a
any-
pipe, where no one seems to know, because no one remembers it, from a catch basin across the street, but we couldn't find it. We opened the catch basin, I went inside, and I don't see a pipe going that way, but that doesn't mean there isn't one 2 feet down in the sand, because the basin is pretty well filled.
And this is the one on the, across the road there?
Yep. It shows it on here.
Yeah. But you're not planning on engineering any kind of
No,
drainage?
we're not gonna touch
on-
any of that at all.
On the property?
Right, just what's on the property.
Okay. Anyone else have any questions?
No, once you mentioned it, I'm just starting to look for the elevations, but it looks like it's pretty flat
Pretty-
across
yeah.
the property.
It's quite flat.
So
I mean,
as long as
I-
it stays that way,
Yeah.
it's fine.
All right. Any comments from the public? Hearing none, I move to close the hearing and issue conditions. Can you have an updated plan for us by Friday?
This Friday? No.
No.
Monday.
Monday or Tuesday, because they're just, everybody's that busy right now.
Yeah, I understand.
And if they're not on vacation, they're
Right.
busy. you know.
We just need to get the plan
I'll get it back to you as soon as possible.
as soon as you can, because we have a window for issuing the
I'll
orders.
talk to Joe myself tomorrow.
Maybe,
See when
maybe
we
at
can
the
get on.
latest, a week from today on the 28th.
By the 28th at the latest?
Yeah, I think we can do that.
Okay. So, yeah, we need an updated plan showing the fence, where it will actually be, showing,
It'll show it approximately 10 feet in
yep,
the wetlands. The wetlands aren't a straight line, they do this, but we'll
Yeah.
try and make it, I'm just gonna make it a straight line. Wherever we're gonna put the fence, we're gonna put it right in front of them.
yeah.
Okay.
And then, so the conservation, note the conservation markers, and a cross-section of pervious paving.
Okay, now that, I'm gonna have to see where I can get it as fast as I can get it for.
Okay.
And she has to approve it, not me.
We can provide examples too if you need to see an
Pardon me?
example. We can provide you examples as well if you need to reference an example of a cross-section.
You've got some?
Middle. Yes, they're,
If you give me a copy, that'd be great.
okay, perfect.
We put some in on one of the jobs, but you don't want to spend that kind of money.
No.
They're beautiful, but
I just want to avoid any flooding issue, I know this is a
right now it's
sensitive
all hard
area back
surface
here.
where that
and-
is. It's the
Yeah.
driveway, it's paved.
Right, is
That's all coming out, back up to the side of the house.
Yep,
So that will help a little bit.
yes. Okay, as special conditions, Mike, or?
Yep, the general special conditions 1 through 18 prior to construction, have a pre-construction meeting and stake out the limits of work. During construction, ensure best management practices are followed. After construction, file for a certificate of compliance within 30 days of completion of work.
Now, that's something that we can talk about. She can only afford to do this in sections.
Mm-hmm.
So we won't have the deck done and probably not even have the pavers in. And
But
it's-
you can still have a
I'd be happy to meet with you anytime.
Yeah.
We'll go over what
Yep.
we can get done and what we're gonna get done, and then phase
Once-
2 will call.
Once all of the work covered in this permit is completed, the deck, the shed, the hardscape, garage demo, then you can file for this certificate of
Okay,
compliance.
That's fine.
And
Yeah.
those orders are good for 3 years.
Yes.
And is the garage gonna be pretty much the first thing that goes
Pardon me?
away?
I'm going.
Garage going away, is that pretty much?
Yeah, that's gone. We're gonna tear it down. That's why we wanted to get this done, and I have to go to the building department and get my permit to pull it, to take it down. We're taking all the hard surfaces in the backyard out. But impervious, I mean, it doesn't, that's not a problem with us as far as it's your taste.
Okay.
you know.
And obviously, you need building permits and,
I need a lot of permits.
yeah, okay.
And
And every day that gets worse.
I know.
2 additional special conditions I like to add are to ensure the erosion control is in place during the project, the entirety of the project, that is, and that the 3 Concom markers are placed to the administrator,
I will put those in
contractors,
after
and
we install
homeowners
the fence.
discretion.
I will put the markers in.
Okay.
And it makes no sense to try and put them in before you put it in.
No,
I'll regrade it all, we'll have it graded out, you can come down and look at it. And anybody has any other suggestions? The only thing that was brought up to me by Dr. Skellinger, he's the agent for Hanson. He said, you might want us to put in a little bit of a riprap. For paper under it and riprap just before it goes into where it's a natural, it looks like a brook, it's not. But it'll slow the water down even more. And we'd be happy to do that too, if you'd like to see something like that.
where would you do this?
Right at the very back of the garage. It's
Okay.
actually right where the flagging is. Pick a line, see where the fence shows right now?
Yep,
Okay, the only spot that goes into the wetlands is in the right-hand corner.
mm-hmm,
Now, if we took and put, say, a foot wide or 2 feet wide of riprap in there,
wrap,
6-inch stone, with Miafra paper under it so it doesn't get washed out from underneath it. Any water coming down will hit that and it will slow down. It won't stop it. It's not supposed to stop it, it's just supposed to slow it down. And he said, I might want to ask you about that. See, I don't want it to wash out. So I want to make it go as slow as I can make it go across the lawn and then come in.
I would say we can approve this tonight if you are going to add that.
Well, this was, he said to ask the board,
Well,
because I've done half a dozen of them for the town of Hanson already.
I'm not entirely sure that would be needed on this property, considering the grading of that lot is fairly flat.
As long as you're happy with the way we're gonna do, I don't have a problem with not putting it in. He was just saying, if you wanted to slow it down even more, we did the Hanson dump, we've done a few other ones for them, where it works. But if it's, you
Yeah,
don't
no,
think
this
it's,
is
you
a
don't think it's
pretty
steep enough to worry about, then we won't worry.
flat property, and, I'm not an engineer. I don't know
Yeah.
whether it's,
Well, it's gonna come out, it's gonna still have a pitch on it.
mm-hmm,
The idea is if it drops into something, it's gonna dig a hole. If it slows it down enough where it flows into it, that is a way to rectify it if we do have a problem in the future. It's something we can put in.
well, is it acceptable to say we're not going to require that or recommend it, but if,
Yes.
when you get into the project, you think,
Yeah, if we feel
It is
that we'll come
necessary?
back, I
Yeah.
can call you and you can talk.
come back
talk
and we
about
can amend
Yes.
the
it. The
plan?
flatter I make it before it gets to there, the slower the water's gonna go. Now, if we have a 9-inch rainstorm, no.
Right, well, that's,
Yeah.
yeah.
But normal rainstorms, it should be flat enough. I'm just thinking if there's, because we've fixed a lot of the problems they had over there with washouts by using that method, and it does work.
I think without signs of erosion there currently, it could be problematic bringing in fill that close to the wetlands.
Well, it's not
If it
fill.
does, if it does prove to be an issue where erosion's an issue and trap rock could be beneficial in that area, the commission could always reconsider.
And that's no, we don't have a problem with that either. You know,
Okay.
Either way. But if it works the way it is, we'll leave it that way.
Yeah.
But there is a lot of rubbish behind the garage that has to come out.
Okay,
So I'm gonna put the silt fence behind the rubbish, clean it all out, and then we'll move it, I'll leave it where it is, depending on what you decide. Is that fair enough?
Yep.
You're not gonna, you can't go in with shovels and do it, it's just,
yeah.
there's a lot of stuff there, you know? So we're all set then?
Are you good, Bert?
Yeah.
Everybody good? Yeah, I think I've already moved to close the hearing. May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, great, thank you.
Okay.
Have a good night.
You too.
Don't drive on Route 3. Me an hour to get from Carver to here on Route 3. Both ways, it's just.
What's
it's
going
not
on?
fun.
Did everybody just get in their cars and start driving
I
tonight?
think there was an accident or something, had to be.
Yeah, it must be an
Yeah.
accident. Yeah, the fair isn't that popular.
Night.
Good night. Okay, we have two continuations. The first being 32 Grotto Road. We will continue that to September 4th, is it?
September 4th, they asked until closing.
Till the closing.
So September 4th for now until we hear better.
Okay, may I have, I move that we continue to September 4th. May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And 12 Careswell Street has been continued with ZBA to,
That one is continued to the second meeting in September, which is the 18th.
September 18th. So our next meeting after that would be,
Oh, no, they requested to continue to the September 18th Conservation Commission
okay.
meeting.
I move that we continue 12 Careswell Street to the September 18th Conservation meeting. May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, certificates of compliance. SE 422923, 162 Bay Avenue. I move to table this until the violations are corrected. A second, please.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 25 Carolyn Circle. We still have an erosion issue, so I move to table that until that is resolved. A second, please.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 29, SE 42, 2979, Adelaide Way, Lot 14. Did you look at this, Mike?
Yes, I took a look at it. It's been built according to the approved site plan.
Okay.
Another thing to note, which I'm not sure, it wasn't reflected on the proposed site plan, but all of the conservation markers and trail markers are in place on the driveway as well.
Okay. I move to issue a certificate of compliance for SE 42 2979. May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And SE 42 2217 and 2217A, John Sherman Estates. I move to issue a one-year extension so that the encroachment into open space can, solution can be attempted there. May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Excuse me, may I address that?
Sure.
I'm Paul Driscoll. I'm a trustee of the Realty Trust that own that subdivision. I just wanted you to know that according to Greg Guimon, the building inspector within the last couple of weeks gave the owner of the property that's encroaching a letter to correct the encroachment within 30 days. And my understanding is if that's not complied with, there will be a daily fine imposed. That follows some considerable communications between the planning board and the homeowner over several months that did not result in a correction.
Okay,
So-
I know they were going to attempt a negotiation with an abutting property to take a sliver to replace the encroachment on the open space. I take it that was not successful.
According to my understanding, it was not. I talked to Greg probably 2 or 3 weeks ago. He said that, in fact, that was their intention. I called him today, and he said, to the best of his knowledge, the building inspector notified the homeowner in writing and gave him 30 days to rectify it. Now, whether the rectification includes the complete work that removes the encroachment, or whether it just includes some proposed plan accepted by everybody, I don't know.
Okay.
But that's the present status.
Okay, well, thank you for the update.
Okay,
We'll, stick with our extension.
sure.
And let them work it out, and,
I just wanted you to know that I'm kind of in a holding pattern until the homeowner rectifies the encroachment.
this has been a long one.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. And lastly, we have SE 422954 and 2954A, 70 Preston Terrace. The dock is completed, but it sounds like a couple of minor changes. Are they reflected in a plan, or?
Yes, they are reflected in the site plan. I actually went out to do a pre-construction on Zero Ferry Street today with Paul Armstrong, with South Shore Pile Driving, I believe it is. And we walked over to this dock and took a look at it as well. It's built according to the site plans, minus the one small change with the pier being shorter and the gangway being a bit longer. Additionally, the building commissioners noted that they have not yet done a final inspection of the dock or closed out the permits for 70 Preston Terrace yet. But as far as our conservation orders of condition are concerned, the dock is acceptable.
Okay, so they didn't go out any further, they just went for a more gradual slope, is
Yes,
that correct?
yes.
So by changing the gangway, the float's still in the position that we said it was gonna be in, because we need to have the underwater clearance.
The
and
underwater
all that.
clearance for
But it's
kayakers.
just trading off the length of the pier for the length of the gangway.
I believe so. I actually did not scale out exactly where that float was. I could do some more
Yeah, I
more
think maybe
research
we
into
wanna,
that ahead of next meeting.
I think, to hold and
Okay.
make sure, because that was the concern, that, and if they've got a longer slope,
Right,
does that impact the navigability under it?
right.
So, yeah, let's just take a look and be sure.
Okay. It seems like there's also some unanswered questions from the building department, so it seems like the best idea to wait and
Yeah,
see
I
these
think we'll,
answers.
I move to table this until we are certain that our requirements are met. May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Actually, I see it's a Morse plan, and Greg Morse was.
And Greg
still on.
Morse was still on, yeah. We could have asked him, but now he's gone. Okay, that concludes our business. I move to close the Conservation Commission meeting for Wednesday, August 21st, 2024. May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned.